Hola.
Mi amo Preston.
Clifford.
Videocast.
Video.
All right, so we were thinking, when you first see a guitar before you actually play it as an instrument or anything like that, it just kind of seems like this mystique thing. Like,
He's like, I can't touch this.
yeah, you don't want to touch it. It seems like, like it's forbidden almost. Like, you don't want to touch it. You have no idea what it does.
I'm going to break it.
Yeah.
I'm going to something terrible.
It seems super fragile. And then you see Doyle punching it, and you're like, dude!
And then you see him break one.
Yeah,
like,
he
oh, it's
does
still
break 'em.
fragile when he does,
He does
punch
break
it.
them. So,
He's like a shadow, like, glass.
So we figured we just kind of get into that and like the mystique and the feel of what it's like before playing and all that. So
Yeah, I guess I'll start with my
Holy
story
shit.
first. Are they dead?
my kids do not like that I film at all. My wife hates me. It's not funny.
Anyway, but yeah, my story.
Yeah.
So the first time I'm sure I'd seen one before, but the first time I can remember really being around a guitar was with my dad. We're at one of his friends' houses, and his friend had like an acoustic guitar just leaning against like a couch pretty much on the side, and it was, at the time I remember looking at it like, holy shit, what is this? Well, I knew what it was, but like, oh, I can't touch that. That's so cool though. And like they left the room, and I remember like strumming the strings really quick, and like instantly like just like putting my hand back on, like, oh no, stop! They're gonna know I did it, and they're gonna yell at me because I touched this special guitar. Meanwhile, looking back, it was pretty much just a shitty, dusty acoustic that probably hadn't been touched.
Played or...
I was probably the first one to touch that thing in like God knows how long.
It was just there to get laid,
Yeah, and then he probably didn't get a lot of that, so it just stayed there being dusty. And no offense, I forget
Like
his
his
name.
dick.
Dusty Dick Dan. That's his
That's
name now.
his name now.
Yeah, got a choice. Find me, fight me.
That's when he fucking shows up next episode.
He starts knocking on the.
It is ma'am! Like, what?
Yeah, that Dusty Dick guitar though, really, it was cool though. It's just, back then I'd see a guitar, or when I finally got my first one, it was just like, what do I do with this? This is crazy. And you know what music is. You have no idea how it works exactly,
Yeah.
or what to do with it.
Unless you took, if you remember anything from music,
By the time I actually
counting to 4. And,
Yeah, by the time I actually bought my first guitar, I had like looked into it, so I kind of understood the basic mechanics. I'm like someone like, you get people who like, I've had friends come by and they're like, you want to show me something on the guitar? And they don't even get the concept of like where to fret or what the point
or
of, like
how
they'll
to
just
do
try to
it.
put their finger like on the string
Just
and like
muting
not
it.
even push it down, or they're
That's
just
what
hitting
you
like
do, right?
they're like hitting a natural harmonic. Like, oh my god, I'm playing sanitarium. Holy, I am deaf.
You ready to go on tour, bro? I mean, and then when you finally do get them to fret like a G chord, it's like, my fucking hand
It
hurts.
was cramping. I think I'm bleeding.
Yeah, and you get like a callus like the first like hour, and you're
I'm mad.
like, I'm a man now. This could be the fingers I use to finger fuck people from now on. Feel the power.
Feel that callus?
Like that from a G chord, baby. Now it's hitting a G spot. Me amo G spot. That made no sense. You're welcome. But my first time ever like really seeing a guitar. I mean, I've seen a few. I have my dad and my uncle both played a little bit. Neither one is they're not even. I wouldn't even at this point, especially, they're not even like casual players. They don't really play at all. The first time I ever really saw them, my dad and my uncle both had them either like in one of their houses, just kind of lying around. My dad had a really cool guitar. I still wish he never would have pawned, but it was a Cort Flying V in this like kind of like cherry red. Hard to explain finish. It's kind of like what you see with the Eclipses coming in now. When you get those like, I hate how they look with like the cherry.
Oh, like the see-through.
Yeah, it looks like crap. But this one, it was a little different. It just looked way.
Probably not as glossy and like.
No, it was like it had a gloss to it though, but it wasn't. It looked older and just nicer. It was a very classic looking V. And it had like a white, like the off-white binding. It was very pretty, and that was like the first guitar I ever like held, and I strummed it, and I never really did much with it because my dad always kind of said like, don't touch it, because I was a kid and,
and
like,
you're
he
also a
probably
lefty too, so even if you still had it by the time
well,
you're
even at
playing
that point, I mean, I was young. I wasn't even considering playing yet. When I was younger, I almost kind of felt like you just either knew how to play guitar or you didn't. It was weird.
That's the thing, like
You don't learn that.
You just are the music.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like me strumming it, and it was just probably out of tune and just like, and I was like, ah! People are dead now because of me.
Fucking Dirty Dick Dan, I'm sorry.
That's what I did.
It's Dirty Dick Man.
It was Dusty Dick.
Oh no. I'm fucking everything up.
This is
I've ruined this man's life.
and
his
it's
legacy.
Dusty Dick.
So moving on. What made you actually make the step to actually buying a guitar?
That was just when I guess I don't want to say I wasn't really into music. Like when I was younger, like late elementary school, I think like my aunt used to pick me up over to her house, and she'd always ask what kind of music you like, and she'd bring up Smash Mouth or rap and stuff. I'm like, I don't know if this appeals to me. And the first time I really got into music would have been
do Smash Mouth? Come on.
At the time it wasn't
I don't.
I would see All-Star and Gatorade commercials. I don't like fucking sports. I don't care about this. I don't care if I'm an All-Star. I'm a loser. Video games.
I love it.
That's what I did. But my dad played Pink Floyd, Springsteen, Guns N' Roses growing up. But I got into music playing Vice City a lot, with 80s metal, V-rock. And even then, it wasn't until the summer before 8th grade I hung out with my cousins and I got really into AC/DC and Black Sabbath. So the following winter afterwards, I was like, I'm going to need this Epiphone SG because it's the same guitar these two dudes play. Iommi and Angus. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It just finally hit me. I was like, oh, actually start paying attention to the guitar more.
How old were you around then? You were
I was a
older.
freshman. So
you were 13, 14?
I probably
13?
was 13. I was a younger high schooler.
Yeah. So I guess I would have started. I was 12. My first guitar is over here. I actually want to take this. I'll show it real quick. Ugh. My man.
His boobies.
This is my first guitar ever. As you can see, it gets played a lot. I hit it in the top of the machete a couple times. I don't ever plan on getting rid of it, but it doesn't mean too much to me in terms of playability. It's kind of just a nostalgia thing. I'll never get rid of it because it is my first guitar. I guess another thing I could show. There's two pick guards here because it was right-handed if you look at the fret markers and such. And I was hell-bent, because I am lefty, to learn left-handed because of people like Jimi Hendrix and Kurt Cobain and the like. And I just kind of felt like I should learn lefty. I don't know why. And I don't entirely regret it. It's just everything is so much more money, and there's no options in comparison. And I still don't fully understand why.
And then every time you get a new guitar, it's this thing looks nice, wish I could play it.
Yeah. And
so you probably have that with everyone you know.
Yes, I do. And just walking into a store and I see the sign, this gigantic sign, Lefty Land, and there's two Squires. Awesome. Can't wait. Oh no, sometimes there's a Daisy Rock.
Oh.
But
I own one of those.
Yeah, it's a J Junior. I don't even
never touched it.
It's not even a bad one though.
No, it's got skulls on it. The tuning peg's got skulls with little pink eyes.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that until after I bought it. I was like, "Fuck, dude,
it's my guitar."
Fucking, I'll rock
Put a fucking
this.
J Bree or J.
A J Bree.
Put a J Bree in the bridge. A JB in the bridge. Fucking it's a J Junior. Don't even know if that's still around. It didn't. I can't really totally recall what it sounded like, but I don't remember it sounding terrible or playing all that bad. But my grandmother got it for me for Christmas when I was 12, and it was righty. So I started learning upside down. My dad kind of gave up after, I think it was a day or two of trying to show me stuff. Because the G chord, I don't know what it was, but the stretch was just killing my hand.
Well, if you're playing upside down, that could do.
It's kind of the same basic stretch, just in a different way, I guess. I can still play it fun
playing
upside down.
before, I could see it being weird.
I guess. But I ended up getting it restrung, lefty, and that was basically how I started. My dad gave up pretty quick, and then I just looked at tabs and I was listening to Metallica. I liked Anthrax a lot. I had my dad for influence. I listened to a lot of Bob Marley when I was younger, and then a lot of Pink Floyd. He likes the Grateful Dead, so I listened to it. Not really a major fan, but I respect it, I guess, for what it is. And when I started playing, though, it was mostly just punk and Metallica and Anthrax. A lot of the Offspring, a lot of Green Day, which is not a bad way to start because it's just power chords. So
slide, you move, you strum.
It was a pretty good progression into Anthrax and Metallica in that sense,
especially
too.
Anthrax.
Well, yeah. Well, thrash in general is really just
power chords.
It's
except
punk.
you pick up that chord sometimes and hit.
It's like intricate punk, really. Very punk influenced, even on the drums.
My first guitar, like I said, is that Epiphone. I don't have it here because this is in my house, but mine's pretty beat up too. There's a big chunk of wood missing because I just got pissed off and slammed it on a basement floor, much like this.
I used to throw that guitar at you.
Yeah, you did.
I would just be playing.
Last time I remember you actually playing it, it got thrown at me.
I just start singing about whatever he was doing and then just randomly launch it and hope it hit him.
I don't know why I hung out with you.
No one does. I don't know why you hang out with me now.
You don't throw guitars as much because now the ones you do play are, you
I only have a couple
about.
that I actually care. I only have like 3 guitars and they're all worth something.
Yeah, like mine. I remember. Mine it sucked because for years I hated my guitar because it had a fat fucking neck on it. And everything about a guitar was the reason I sucked at the time. So it was like, oh, my hand's cramping and I can't play well. It's because this neck's too fat. Years later, I went back to it, was like, this neck's fat, but it's
nice. It's like grabbing a fucking baseball.
And like the way it sat and everything. And then the nut broke off, so my bass player in the band took a screw and zip tied it, and I had to play a show with it.
It worked though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I had to play a show with that, like replacing the nut for the B and the high E string, and it was a nightmare. And then when I finally got my other guitar fixed and went to play it, I brought that one to practice. RJ brings up my fixed one, and then that one fell over and the headstock cracked right off. And he glued it back on, but now the whole first fret is just dead because it's just not lined up right. So it sits in my closet as a memory. And
not doing a lot of jet with that.
Yeah, and it was a solid body, so I never threw it at people. It'll hurt. I did hit Lou in the head with it once.
Hit Lou in the head.
My friend was over.
Barely too.
I was sitting at the end of my bed. He was doing something. I'm 13. I was just like, I want, and he just rolled on my floor for a couple minutes, holding his head, kind of crying. Sorry, dude.
But it's weird how it kind of works. Like you go from it's untouchable till you finally get one, and then you kind of always make excuses for a long time instead of just understand that you just need to practice to get better. And when you finally do,
masters, I had all that shit.
Yeah, I never fucked with that. But even once you finally do get to a point where you can play pretty well or whatever, like now after playing since I was 12, I'm 27 now, and you've been playing since you were 13. We kind of just look at guitars, and some of them I would just never even consider buying.
Yeah,
there's so many guitars I look at like dog shit.
The same guitar that I said a kid like I was would look at it whoa, what is that? And I'd sit there and be like, piece of shit, we should burn this in a fire. You want to break it for a fucking video? And that kid would just be like, I guess they're not so special. It's apparently fragile. Oh, you broke it.
I mean, some guitars I guess are probably fragile, but
like an acoustic too. That's what I saw leaning up against his couch. So,
but this thing, dude, I hit it with a machete. I threw it at him.
You don't know it. You just see that it's what looks like thin wood, hollow.
You would imagine it would break easier, but they are pretty solid.
I'm tempted to stomp on it, but
don't please. But yeah, that was my upbringing with it, and I'm still really shitty at guitar.
Yeah,
so
me too. It's okay.
It's the way you should look at it. I think with basically anything in life, once you start to think that you're good at it, you're not going to be learning anything else, and fuck you.
Yeah.
If you think that you're good at guitar, that means that you're an asshole and you're not actually trying to get any better, and you're just going to be stagnant. You're not going to progress any further. It's okay to be happy with where you're at.
Yeah, comfortable with it, especially if you're worried more about songwriting, I guess.
Oh yeah, songwriting is totally different too, though.
But even then, you still be maybe I could learn some new chords and maybe some new little voicings of things to
or just different things, or just practice on a daily basis anyway, or at least as often as you can, or at least feel like it. For me now, I've been concentrating more on drums because I'm not good at them. So I am trying to get to a point where I feel comfortable on drums like I do on guitar. So I just can kind of do what I need to for my own songwriting purposes. But, I mean, I don't practice that often on guitar. I still do pick it up probably a couple times a month. But, I kind of neglect it. But I play drums every day. So the way I look at it now, it's more of a when I feel like doing it kind of thing, which I think is very important. I think that's another reason why when some people look at another guitar player and well, why is he so good? I want to be that good. But do you really want to be that good? Are you actually practicing that much, or do you just want to be that good without putting in the effort?
Yeah, people I met before I started playing, this one kid in high school was yeah, I got a guitar, I played for a few months, I never got any good, so...
Yeah, a few months. What are you going to do? I was playing, nothing else matters by then, but whatever. I wasn't actually. I was playing Master of Puppets, but it was probably not as good as everyone tells me it was.
Yeah, I guess I recognize you. Way to go, kid. But
my dad and all of his friends thought it was fantastic, but looking back, I guarantee it was not up to speed.
Yeah.
I guarantee
Especially when you think about the down to that song.
I was actually
That song
ironically
haunts my
pretty
dreams.
good at down picking. That's one of the things I've always been pretty decent with.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It took me a while, but and then with me, I'd play. I'd probably.
Ultimate picking messed with me a lot.
That was like
at
the
first.
easiest thing for me, and then I spent like years being like, I need to down pick faster, and Master Puppets was the one thing. It's like I don't even like care, not even that I really want to learn the song, as much
So
as the
I'm gonna
fact that it
do
was
it.
just like the fact like, how the fuck did you do this for 6 minutes straight? Like, but
Down.
yeah, but yeah, I play like every day. I'm kind of in the place where I want to get just better in certain technical aspects and just learn new things, but I haven't been as much because we've been doing either this or
Yeah.
I'm like just doing stuff with my band where I'm just kind of working on stuff we already have right now because we're recording here. So
Yeah, I'm still.
I'm in a
recording
bit of a
them, so-
lazy period with learning or progressing, but I try. I go through spurts. I used to back in high school. I could play for like sit in my basement and play for like 4 or 5 hours, no problem.
That was
But then
the
I wouldn't.
shit.
I would do that for like a week, and then like I'd go out a couple times, and I end up not playing for like a month.
Yeah, that happens.
Or I just
though.
look at gear instead of buying anything.
That happens too. I know. We know a mutual person that we both know. There's a lot of buying of guitars. Not a lot of
In a
practicing,
band,
apparently.
but yeah, timing wise, you hear this shit solo. It's like, do you know how to
Yeah,
count?
it was rough. Some people just need to concentrate more on actually playing and not worrying so much about the equipment. I mean, there's a lot of people who talk about that too. There's a video with Jeff Loomis where he plays through a Roland microcube and just makes it look like.
Yeah, was
There's
that
also-
on a
there's
Spider
Joe-
or?
No, he had a Roland cube. There was one with Joe Satriani playing through a crappy thing with a crappy
Yeah.
guitar, and it was just like, come on, dude. So
Stop. You're making me
it's
sad.
proof is in the pudding. There, you know. It's you just gotta practice. I mean, it is what it is. For me personally, if I can get it to sound better, you know, amp wise, tone wise, I do play better because I just
Yeah, that
you get that feel out of it, but it does really just you just gotta practice.
I would say more like a technical aspect. It's just actual practicing. As long as your guitar doesn't have like ridiculously high action that you can't lower
Or
and
like
makes
the
like
neck is a
unplayable.
U-turn
yeah.
or something.
Otherwise, the sound stuff is just more like inspirational, and I think creative-wise, I do think it helps having stuff that does sound
Yeah.
decent enough. But even then, you can still get that out of like my little Yamaha amp I have. I think is like one of the
That's nice
easiest
amp,
things for that because
Joe Zombie's great. There's a lot of cool options now.
yeah,
I mean, when we started playing, it's not even that long ago, and the amount of options that are around now compared to then, like back then, if you wanted something that could do a lot of things, it was
it's
a spider.
And
Yeah.
even like
And it
as
was-
an inexperienced guitar player, I still
I used to
didn't think
love them back then.
I never liked the way they sound because I always thought they sounded too like biting and harsh.
I did too, but like I mean, when I first started playing, I knew somebody. He got EMGs, 81s and 85s, and a Schecter guitar, and he got. I think he had a Roland microcube actually, but he got those, and I was just like, what? And I was completely blown away that was an option. And meanwhile, my guitar at that point, my newest guitar was my Ibanez Geo.
Yeah,
It's like a double cutaway Les Paul kind of looking thing.
kind of looks like Zach Vengeance's
Yeah,
guitar. in a
which
way.
is awful because I'm lefty as well. But I don't know. I still like that guitar for a lot of different weird reasons.
It's like my SG. If it wasn't
Yeah.
broken, I'd still probably use it just for shits, and it's still fun and nice in a way.
Yeah.
Even though it feels cheap. But
That guitar feels cheap, but I covered it in stickers, and now it's my punk guitar.
yeah,
so.
exactly. That's what I would do with mine. It worked. If I didn't kill it, if drunk me didn't just run into shit like sober me does anyway, it doesn't matter what.
Well, apparently, my wife took a shit, so I guess that's a good time to end it.
Yeah, leaves you with that.
Bye.
Good day. Did he have a stroke? Oh shit!
I'm sorry, buddy. I was gonna
Ruined my joke that I didn't even plan out and inform you of. I